Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're having a great day wherever you may be. Today is another Ranking the Albums episode, and specifically I will be ranking the entire discography of the band Judas Priest, one of my favorite bands. So I'll be ranking that discography from worst to first, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Coming in at dead last, number 18 is the album Demolition. Of course, this is the second album with Tim "Ripper" Owens on vocals, and for me personally, there is just not much that I like about this album. I play it and it doesn't move me in any way. So I have no need to listen to it, and it's a shame because while I'm quite fond of Tim Owens' vocals, just something missing on this album. And if I had to form a hypothesis or give my theory, it's essentially there isn't any chemistry or enough chemistry between him and the band, and that is not necessarily Tim Owens' fault because, as you know, chemistry and or synergy works both ways. It's a two-way street. And so let me use that word again. So I don't think it's just chemistry. I think it's synergy as well. And now, having said that, I really love what Tim Owens is doing with KK Downing in that band, KK's Priest, and they have two albums, right? And those, I think, are phenomenal. So Tim's really come into his own with those two albums, and I think even before that, doing some other stuff with Iced Earth and Yngwie Malmsteen, especially the stuff he did with Iced Earth. That's where I think he really started to come into his own. Anyway, so number 18, Demolition. Number 17 is the first album that Tim the Ripper Owens did with the band, and that is Jugulator. And I think while this is a better album than Demolition, it's not much better. Same thing. I don't think the chemistry and the synergy is there. And I also think the production, like Demolition, isn't very good. The production is a little bit better than Demolition in my estimation. But again, nothing here resonates with me. Now, it's a shame because Cathedral Spires, the big hit, if you will, from the album, I thought had lots of potential. But there's just something missing. It lacks intensity. It's got great potential, as I said, but there's something missing. So 17, Jugulator, great album cover, fits right in with the Judas Priest motif and all, but it just doesn't work. Number 16 is Ram It Down. Now, this is not a great album by any stretch of the imagination. I do not like the title track. Heavy Metal's okay. Love Zone, I think, is below average. Come and Get It and Hard as Iron could do without. I don't like Johnny Be Good at all. I'm a Rocker's okay. Love You to Death is okay. Monsters of Rock. Not sure what to make of that song. I don't like it on two fronts. It's kind of cocky if you're calling yourselves the Monsters of Rock. I haven't looked at the lyrics in a while back. And if you're talking about, the festival that they put on, I'm not sure why you would make a song about that. So anyway, you have two bonus tracks, Night Comes Down Live and Bloodstone Live, but you should have put that on a live album instead of here. I hate when bands do that. Give us the whole live show, right? Anyway, and so I missed one song on purpose because the song that I like on here very much is Blood Red Skies. This is the only song on the album that I like. And why does this why is this ahead of the two Tim Owens albums? It's because on those two albums, I don't listen to any of the songs anymore. I listen to Blood Red Skies all the time. So coming in at number 16 is Ram It Down. Very disappointing album when it came out and still disappointing today. So that was 16. Number 15 is Angel of Retribution. I don't like Judas Rising, and it's not just because they have part of the name of their band, because they have part of the band name in the song title. Deal with the Devil's kind of cliched, right? Revolution, Worth Fighting For, Demonizer, Wheels of Fire, Angel, Hellrider, Eulogy, and Loch Ness. Loch Ness is the epic track on here, 13 minutes. It's I would say just slightly above average, but it's really nothing to rave about. At least I don't think so. Hellrider's okay. Like Ram It Down, there's only one song on here I continue to listen to that I really love, and that is the song Revolution. So Revolution is the big deal on this album. So again, so far we're pretty much splitting hairs, sort of. Well, let me rephrase. When it comes to this and Ram It Down, we're splitting hairs because there's only one song in each of those albums I like. So why is this above Ram It Down? Because I think I'm pretty sure that I like Revolution just a smidge better than Blood Red Skies on Ram It Down. And I do like these two albums better than the two Tim Ripper Owens albums because, as I said, I don't listen to any of those songs anymore. Okay, so that was 15. Coming in at number 14, no surprise, Turbo. And this is two 80s. Again, I shake my head and I get frustrated whenever I think about, and I try not to think about when bands go the 80s route, just because, and people are going to disagree with me all the time. And it's fine. It's an opinion, right? But I never understood. Let's do what the Joneses are doing. It's the 80s. So let's add some synths and some keyboards and my big theory is that if your band didn't begin with keyboards in the first place, keep your keyboards to a minimum or just slightly above minimum. So I throw all kind of bands under the bus when it comes to that. Rush comes to mind, Genesis. In other words, when you institute Dio after the first two albums, right? When you start introducing keyboards and it drowns out the guitar, UFO comes to mind as well. When the guitar takes a backseat to keyboards is when I get really upset and disappointed. So 280 sounding. There's something to be said for keeping up with the times, but to what that can also come back to bite you. Loss of integrity, that kind of thing. So anyway, so Turbo Lover's okay, but as I've said in previous episodes, or a previous episode, I liked Locked In, and I like, Out in the Cold. I think those tracks are fabulous. Private Property is just so poppy and commercial and overblown. Same thing with Parental Guidance. Rock You All Around the World. I'm not a big anthem person. I'm really not I like United better on British Steel, but there aren't too many anthems I like. I like Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss and maybe a couple others, but I'm just not a big... Queen comes to mind with their anthems, on News of the World. And I'm not thinking of the song, right? We Will Rock You, right? So just not my cup of tea. Wild Nights, Hot and Crazy Nights, another 80s feel type of commercial song. Hot for Love, I guess, is okay. Reckless is okay. You have a couple bonus tracks, All Fired Up, and then a live version of Locked In. All Fired Up's okay, but only two songs, so that's why it's ahead of Angel of Retribution and Ram It Down. This is not a good album at all. Now, this next one I have a real issue with, and it's only above Turbo because it has twice as many songs that I like. 4 songs I like on this album. Still not a good album. And when this came out, I was very disappointed, and I'm talking about Firepower. I do not like the title track whatsoever. I think it's juvenile. Lightning Strike, cliched title, I don't care for that either. Evil Never Dies, Never the Heroes, Necromancer, Children of the Sun. We're 0 for 6 for me so far. Guardians, Rising from Ruins, no. Flamethrower, no. Okay, so that's 9 songs. So we're 0 for 9 so far. For me personally, remember, this is, I'm not speaking for anyone else here. When we get to track 10, Spectre. Now we're talking a little bit. I like Spectre. Trader's Gate. I like Trader's Gate. No Surrender. No. Cliched. Lone Wolf. I like Lone Wolf. A bit cliched, but I like it. And then Sea of Red. I like as well. So 4 songs that I like. Again, Spectre, Trader's Gate, Lone Wolf, and Sea of Red. Produced by Tom Allom. And as you can see, it's going for that Screaming for Vengeance look. because of the way the art uses the lines, right? Very similar to the Bird, except in a different angle. So they're trying to relive past glories. It just doesn't work. I know people who love this album, and I don't know people who love this album. And what I mean by that is people on YouTube and people other places on social media who I don't know, but I know, their review and they love this. It just, I don't get it. So just me. So I'm in the minority there. So the only reason this is better than Turbo, as I said, because it has twice the songs that I like. So 4 versus 2. So 4 songs I like on here as opposed to 2 on Turbo. All right, coming in at so that was 13, Firepower number 13. Coming in at number 12, another disappointing album is Nostradamus. I appreciate the effort that Judas Priest was trying to do with a concept album. I really do, because as a big sucker for concept albums and prog rock and all that, so them returning to, this is their first and only concept album, but a return to prog rock because that first album, Rock-A-Rolla, has some prog-like stuff on it, especially the Sweet, Cheater, Winter, Deep Freeze, and all that, right? Which I'm very fond of. So you have you have Dawn of Creation, Prophecy, Awake. I'm not going to read everything. Awakening, Revelations. You have a lot of segue songs that are short in between the bigger tracks that are longer, right? So, again, I appreciate the effort, but I don't listen to this very often. Again, a nice attempt. And why does it get ahead of everything else I've mentioned so far? Because I think the guitar playing on here is phenomenal. I like the story. But it doesn't work totally. There are some great moments here, but there are also some moments that fail miserably. But a lot more tracks on here. I think I like about half of what's here. This could have been much better if this was a single version. I'm not the first person to say that. So, a disappointment, but not near as disappointing as everything that I said already that came after this. Anyway. So Nostradamus, number 12. Number 11, Painkiller. I know some people who love this album, and they call this a comeback. I don't get it. I think some people blow it up so much because of the 2 albums that came before this. So in comparison to those 2, this looks like a peach, right? I like the title track. I like Hell Patrol. I like everything on here except for Touch of Evil. I don't like the way that Halford sings that. Just his phrasing. A lot of the phrasing on here I don't like. So so I said that I like a lot. I like everything that's on here, but I don't love it. And again, it has to do with the way that Halford is singing and the way that he's phrasing. He's never he stopped phrasing the way he used to ever since, I would say, Defenders of the Faith, for good or for ill. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, 11. Number 10, an album I just love, Redeemer of Souls. And this is the bonus disc. This is more like it. This is kind of a neat, kind of a pseudo-lenticular feel to it. Right, that middle thing right there. And this, of course, the album cover is the same character on the Angel of Retribution album, and some have interpreted this, both of those, and Painkiller as well. So, I forget who it was. There's a YouTuber named Metal Pilgrim. He's in the Ukraine, God bless him, and he thinks he's interpreted that the character on this album cover, as well as Angel of Retribution and Painkiller, are the same person as the fallen angel on the cover of Sad Wings of Destiny. And so if you get a chance, go look that up. It's quite an interesting theory. I'm not sure how I feel. But anyway, I really love this album from start to finish, and the bonus tracks are fabulous as well. So if you don't have this, definitely got to get this. So Redeemer of Souls, Judas Priest, in my estimation, their last truly great album. And I'm giving this a great category rating. So that's how much I like it. Now, coming in at number 9, bit of a contradiction here. I do not think this album is great, but it gets to be ahead of Redeemer of Souls because I listened to it more than this one. So, people argue about, well, this is a band's best album, but it's not my favorite. So it's kind of like that. So this is a great album. This is not a great album, but compared to the two, I like this one better. There's that nostalgia factor. It reminds me when I was a kid. It's in my DNA. It's in my blood kind of thing more than the other one is. There's just something about this that resonates with me more than Redeemer Souls. It's really an apples and oranges thing, so I just have to put this in front of Redeemer Souls. And so this, we're talking about Rockarola, and got the lawsuit album cover. It was banned for a while, and you got that ugly skull-looking thing carrying bombs in its claws with other creatures like it. Just a horrible album cover because it came from a video game, I think. Anyway, so the songs on here, boy, print's really small. One for the Road, Rockarola, the title track, which is a nice rocker, as is One for the Road. Then you get the Sweet, Winter. The tracks are separated, but you get Winter, Deep Freeze, Winter Retreat, and Cheetah, which all make up one Sweet, really. Then side 2 is Never Satisfied. It's an okay song. I love Run of the Mill. It's depressing as hell, but it's a really good song. 8.5 minutes. Dying to Meet You is okay. And then Caviar and Mess, which is the 2-minute instrumental, which comes from a longer song that was like 8 minutes and change that they lost. So they just have the remnant of that. So Rockarola, folks, is, for me, number 9. All right, coming in at number 8, Sin After Sin, produced by Roger Glover of Deep Purple, and got some heavy stuff on here. I love the title track. Well, it's the near title track, Sinner, excuse me. Diamonds and Rust is a great Joanne Baez cover. Judas Priest is one of those bands that when they do a cover song, they do it really well. Starbreaker is phenomenal. Last Rose of Summer is great. Let Us Pray / Call for the Priest, a really standout track on here. Raw Deal's pretty good. Here Comes the Tears, okay. And then the last song, Dissident Aggressor, is phenomenal. My favorite song on here. I think this is an underrated album. So sometimes I'll listen to the first 3 albums back to back to back, kind of making it an event. Anyway, so Sin After Sin coming in at number 8. Number 7, Point of Entry. Love this album cover much better than the American version, with the desert landscape and the horizon and the dot matrix computer paper leaving a trail. I hate that. Anyway, this is more fun, and can stare at this for a while. So what you get on here, well, let's talk about if you had this on vinyl like I did as a kid, or whenever. Side 1 is just phenomenal. One of the greatest side 1s of all time. Heading Out to the Highway, Don't Go, Hot Rockin', Turning Circles in Desert Plains. Back to back to back to back to back. Just phenomenal. And then side 2, Solar Angels, a little proggy, but I like it. And then You Say Yes, I Can Do Without. Kind of corny. All the Ways, okay. Troubleshooter, I think, is awful. And On the Run is just, slightly below average. You get some bonus tracks. Thunder Road is okay, and Desert Plains Live, which I like. So, Point of Entry, number 7. Coming in at number 6, Defenders of the Faith. I saw them on this tour when I was 16. I was in high school, of course. Free Will Burning is just fabulous. Jawbreaker is, I would say, good, not great. Rock Hard, Right Free. Oh, wow. That's my favorite song on this album. The Sentinel, my second favorite song on this album. Those 2 back-to-back are great. Love Bites kind of would go with Turbo a little better. A little on the 80s cheesy vibe, but it's okay. And then Eat Me Alive, I Can Do Without. Then we get the wonderful Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. I love that song. I know some people kind of poop on it. Night Comes Down, kind of a slow ballad, but fabulous. Heavy Duty, and then Defenders of the Faith. Those pair up nicely, and they're meant to. They segue into each other. Fabulous. So great way to end the album. And this is another Tom Allom album, and another Tom Allom album. Excuse me, where he gets it right. You know what the other one is, right? So Defenders of the Faith at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is British Steel. Small print again, right? All right. Rapid Fire and Metal Gods. What a great way to open the record with those two back to back to back, and they segue into each other with that kind of, when Rapid Fire ends, you get that and then Metal Gods opens up with that killer riff, and then We've Taken Too Much for Granted. Vocals, right? It's great. Then you get Breaking the Law. Then Grinder, which I love. United, I mentioned that already. You Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise is okay. The fun, Living After Midnight. Critic Martin Popoff has called this a Judas Priest's Kiss album or Kiss record. And the only reason I would think he would say that is because of the song Living After Midnight, which I can imagine is a Kiss song. But other than that, no, nothing else would sound like a Kiss song to me. Anyway, then you get the underrated song The Rage, which I think is great. And then Steeler, I think, is also underrated. So it closes with two really underrated albums, which I just love to death. You get a bonus track, one is Red, White, and Blue, okay, and then a live version of Grinder. Fabulous. Coming in at number 5. So it makes my top 5, has to. Coming in at number 4 is Staying Class. Some days in the past this has been my favorite, but it's not. I just can't make it my favorite. It just, the other 3 that come before this just play more and just love much more. So you get Exciter, which I think is slightly overrated, but I do like it. I think it's a great song. I think it's a very good song, not a great song. White Heat, Red Hot makes me think of the David Bowie version of Lou Reed's song, right? Which is I think it's just White Heat. I can't recall it at this moment, but it makes me think of that, even though they sound nothing alike. I don't know if it was inspired by that or not, but I like it. I prefer White Heat, Red Hot much more to Exciter. It just grabs me more. The Spooky Tooth cover, Better By You, Better Than Me. Great song, great cover. The title track, Stained Class, is fabulous. Invader, then Saints in Hell, those are great. Then Savage, those are great. So you got 4 songs, not counting the cover, back to back to back to back, great. So after Savage comes my favorite song, number 8, Beyond the Realms of Death. Just so powerful, that light and shade acoustic and then heavy back and forth kind of thing. That Led Zeppelin-y feel. Again, the light and shade. And then you get Heroes End, which is, I would say, just above average song, but I do like it. You get 2 bonus tracks. Fire Burns Below is okay. And then a live version of the Spooky Tooth cover. Weird album cover, but it works for me. I love this classic logo much better than the new logo with the Judas Priest cross. I wish they'd stick to this. And I think they're returning to that with the new album that's scheduled to come out in 2024. I hope it's better than Firepower. All right, so number 3, Killing Machine, or as they call it in America, Hellbent for Leather. I like the Killing Machine title much better. There's a lot to be said for original British album covers and title tracks. Anyway, so you get Delivering the Goods, Rock Forever, Evening Star, Hellbent for Leather, the title track for America, right? Take on the World, another anthem. I don't care for that song. Burning Up is fabulous. And then their best cover song of all time, The Green Manalishi with the 2-pronged crown. I think this was only available at first in the American market, and then I think they put it later on the Killing Machine version. I'm not sure. Well, it's on. This is the Killing Machine title, so yeah, that has to be right. Then you get Running Wild, Before the Dawn, The Ballad, and Evil Fantasies, which for some reason Evil Fantasies makes me think of Led Zeppelin. I'm not sure why. And you get 2 bonus tracks, Fight for Your Life, which is okay, and then a live version of Riding on the Wind. Let's talk about the tracks now. Delivering the Goods is a great way to open the album. Rock Forever's decent song. Evening Star's kind of a lighter song, not quite a ballad, but not heavy either. Hellbent for Leather is just fabulous. Burning Up, The Green Manalishi, and Killing Machine, those 3 back to back to back, or would make this album. So, but this is my 3rd favorite of all time. Love the album cover too. And you get only shot of Rob Halford with a beard at that young age. Anyway, one of the greatest back photos of all time for an album. Anyway, this next one, wow. Sad Wings of Destiny. Love this album cover, but of course the music is what matters. You get Prelude, Tyrant, Genocide, Epitaph, Island of Domination, Victim of Changes, Ripper, Dreamer, Deceiver, then Deceiver. Those two are paired, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The production on here is not as good as so many of their albums, but it still makes my number 2 because I just love the songs. They're so meaningful for me. This was the second album I ever heard by Judas Priest, and so it seeped into my blood kind of thing, right, that I've talked about before. I just love the way this album opens. You get Prelude, the piano, and then it literally warps the warp sound into the heavy riff that begins Tyrant. Just great. And then you get Genocide, another great heavy song. Then you get the slower track, Epitaph, where we get to listen to Halford in his lower register, and I like that. It took me a while to warm up to that, but I do like it. I can listen to this from start to finish. I couldn't when I was a boy. Island of Domination, I think is an underrated song. Closes out side A if you have this on vinyl. Then you get the fabulous Victim of Changes. Then you get Ripper, of course, about Jack the Ripper. Then you get the marvelous, my favorite, the two songs I combine as one, Dreamer, Deceiver / Deceiver. They segue into each other, so it's that light and shade again. You get, think of it like Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, only in the sense that it starts off in that acoustic, slow but compelling, and then gets the second part is that heavy, driven stuff, right? And vocally, Halford's all over the place vocally here. It's great, and it's a good thing. And what I mean by that, but Dreamer, Deceiver / Deceiver is where he excels, and of course Victim of Changes too. But I like Dreamer, Deceiver much better than Victim of Changes, and that's saying a lot because I love Victim of Changes too. And if you're a Priest fan, who doesn't, right? But man, Dreamer, Deceiver / Deceiver is just so moving. I love it. Can't get in. I never get tired of it. So number 2 is Sad Wings of Destiny. Great album title too. Too bad they don't have a song called that. I don't think that they do. Anyway, number 1, of course, is Tom Allom produced. This is where I came in at as a young man, Screaming for Vengeance. What a way to open an album. The instrumental intro, the Hellion, which segue into Electric Eye, which, you can consider that one song. Then you get the amazing Riding on the Wind, that intro with those drums, right? And then the guitar riffs kick in, right? Then you get Bloodstone, which I think is underrated. Then you get Take These Chains Off, or just Chains, take these in parentheses. I think is great. Pain and Pleasure, probably the weakest track on the album, but I still love it. The title track, which introduces side 2, if you have it on vinyl, is my favorite song on here. Screaming for Vengeance was my second favorite for a while, after Hellion / Electric Eye. My third favorite would be Riding on the Wind, but Screaming for Vengeance is my favorite song on here. Just arguably, I would argue, I don't know if anyone's argued this, but I would say that Screaming for Vengeance may be the first thrash metal song of all time. It has that feel to it. And then you get the overplayed, but I still love it, You've Got Another Thing Coming. Then Fever, kind of a heavy ballad, and then back to the heavy vocals that you get in Scream for Vengeance sound is Devil's Child, that high register. I just love it. Bonus tracks, Prisoner of Your Eyes, a ballad, it's okay, and then a live version of Devil's Child. So love this album. And so unlike Firepower, where the lines were going this way or this way, these are going at a diagonal, and so we get that Tom Allom feel, right? So this Defenders of the Faith and Firepower would be considered the Tom Allom trilogy. I think Tom Allom is producing the new one, so that would be the tetralogy, right? So there you have it, everybody. My favorite Judas Priest album of all time, Screaming for Vengeance. Great album cover. What's cool is when they toured for this album, Rob Halford has the leather vest with this on the back of it. It looks awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click the notification button to be apprised of all upcoming videos. And thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye now. Take care.